Hello, everybody.
Hi
Happy
there.
June 2022. Thank you so much for joining us this month for a great new edition of Cheese Month Club with Antonellis Cheese.
Yeah.
Woo-woo.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. We are super excited to be your hosts this month. We both work at Antonellis Cheese. I'm a head cheesemonger in the retail shop. Nicholas here.
And the director of operations, and your name is Matt,
My
too.
name is Matt. Thank
It's a beautiful
you.
name, isn't it?
And we're really excited to be your hosts for our Pride Month celebration. Here in the United States, we celebrate Pride Month every June to remember the Stonewall Riots in June of 1969. It's an opportunity to explore inequality in our communities, highlight diversity, and celebrate LGBTQ members of our community who have done outstanding things like the producers that we have this month. So I'm really excited to get into these goodies.
And we're super excited to be your hosts. We asked John and Kendall if we could host this month, since not only do we work here, but we're also engaged. And boom. And so we're really excited to share these great products with you. So what do we have first here, Matt?
Outstanding. So our first product is Mary Goat Round, coming from Firefly Farms out in Maryland. Our producers are Mike Koch and Pablo Soline, who started their creamery back in 2002. Really fantastic people who are creating well-paying opportunities to work and support your family in an area that desperately needs those sorts of jobs. So we're really excited to highlight them this month with this delicious cheese here. Can I take a bite while you talk about it?
Please do. Yeah, so this fantastic cheese we're going to start with. It's the one that has the beautiful white rind on it. So this is going to be a soft ripened bloomy rind cheese. This is a cheese that comes from that kind of family of bries and camemberts and those lovely like ooey gooey cheeses. This one in particular is made with goat's milk, and so you're getting this really unique flavor to it. Nice little tangy bite, beautiful luscious creaminess. It totally coats the whole mouth as you eat it and envelops, which is amazing. And in particular, we always recommend folks to try the rinds with your cheese. Any rind on any cheese is edible by law. Some are delicious, some are wax, which we say you don't have to eat, but you can eat if you want. But this one in particular, you're seeing that beautiful white rind that's caused by a mold called Penicillium candidum. And it's giving this great, fantastic flavor to it. Actually, the two cheesemakers specifically say the rind here is where you get this huge burst of flavor. So we definitely recommend trying a little bit of the cheese by itself. Oh, thank you. By itself, and then take a bite of the rind together. Super soft.
That is a meat cheese. It's like really light in those tangy goaty flavors. It's buttery, it's creamy, it's so delicious. I love that. Little jam, little fruit. Outstanding. Our next cheese coming up is Hopalong, coming from Cowgirl Creamery out in California. Two fantastic longtime friends, Sue Conley and Peggy Smith, started this creamery back in 1997.
Oh my gosh.
They are really outstanding. They believe that organic dairy can be a force for good, and I'm convinced. They're highlighting the resources out in Marin and Sonoma counties in California and what those beautiful natural resources can turn into with some time and effort. So this Hopalong is one of my favorite washed rind cheeses that we sell. I'm gonna taste a little bit.
Yeah, and as Matt was mentioning, this is the style are your wash rinds, and it comes from, or at least this cheese is inspired by, I should say, those Trappist monks that in the tradition of how they make their cheeses would be washing the rind of their cheeses. Typically it's with a salt solution, but it could have been wine, it could be beer, it could be all sorts of things. And what it does is it creates this a perfect environment for Brevibacterium linnens to grow, which if you look at the rind of this one, it has this beautiful, almost like orange amber kind of color to it, and that's caused by that bacteria. In this particular cheese, they're doing kind of a play on the idea, and they're using hard apple cider on it, which is wonderful. And staying true to that idea of organic farming and organic living, the cheese is made from only organic milk, and the apple cider, hard apple cider, is made from organic apples as well. So this one, again, creamy, pliable, smooth, beautiful cheese that has this great little bite on the outside, a little bit of fruitiness on the rind, and that rind does give a little bit of funk tingle in the nose, but in all the best ways, which I love.
Yeah, the flavor gets richer toward the rind, the texture gets a little denser, and I really love it. That's so good. So good. Our next cheese coming up is this beautiful guy here, Keystone, coming from Riverway Creamery, one of our fantastic Texas producers. We're highlighting Susan Rigg here, the producer behind Riverway Creamery. Really fantastic woman who creates original American cheeses inspired by her travels across the world. This one is an Italian tome style that's really beautiful, really delicious, and is definitely one of the examples of her motto, which is great Texas dirt makes great Texas grass, makes great Texas milk, makes great Texas cheese. So let's have a little taste of this.
Yeah, and like Matt was mentioning about this particular cheese is in that tome style, which really is like this whole, you could say, a style, you could say category, whatever you want to say on it, but it's this idea of this ancient recipe of cheeses that can come from the French and Swiss Alp region. Typically, these types of cheeses are made with low-fat milk, or a lot of times skim milk, and the idea is that you'd make a tome style cheese after you made other cheeses that require much more butterfat in its recipe. And so instead of wasting this lower fat milk to spoilage or toss in it, they decided to make these really delicious, flavorful cheeses with this little lower fat content, which is nice. Tome style cheeses are traditionally thought of as more everyday cheese, table cheese, something that you should be able to eat every day, enjoy every day, keep on your table during every meal, and this is definitely no exception to that. It's absolutely scrumptious, it's buttery, it's light, it's this really beautiful texture. Tomes do have a little more of an earthier after flavor, but this one is balanced really beautifully all the way through. We could easily see eating this every day, which we do eat cheese every day.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I think that the like chalky texture of it is a really fun contrast to these creamy cheeses that we've tasted. And that light tanginess, that light saltiness is so good. Like some grapes, some apples with that would be super tasty. We are coming across our last cheese producer, but not our last producer.
That's right.
This month. So this is going to be Caveman, coming from Road Creamery out of Oregon, a producer that we just love, and a producer that has received a ton of recognition since David Gremmels, the producer we're highlighting this month, took over Road Creamery back in 2002. The creamery itself has a long history going back to the 1930s.
75 plus years, kind of idea.
Really
Crazy.
Incredible story. And since David took over, they have received a lot of awards, especially for their blue cheeses in particular.
Why is this blue super special to you, Matt?
Caveman is the blue cheese that made me like blue cheese.
When we first got together, Matt wouldn't touch the blue. If we got a cheese board out at a restaurant, I was the only one eating the blue. You take the other cheeses, but now
I love it. So
now we need to actually fight about that on the board.
This is a friendly blue cheese right here. So I really recommend that everybody try this because it's really worth it.
Yeah, and what I love about Caveman in particular, all blue cheese are really special, but what makes this one just really unique to me is that blue cheese sometimes can have this really aggressive, intense flavor that's almost overwhelming. What Road Creamery does that's really wonderful in this cheese is they use organic milk and then balance out that intensity of the blue with these great sweet flavors, almost an almond amaretto bite. And so blue cheese is traditionally thought of as a dessert cheese, and I think this is just a great example of, hey, at the end of the meal, you could totally sit down, eat a chunk of this with some fresh fruits, maybe some honey, and it'd be such a satisfying dessert.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And since we're talking about dessert, it's the perfect segue into our final product.
I'm eating right now, actually.
Yeah, you enjoy. This is vanilla fennel coming from Madhu Chocolate, another outstanding Texas-based producer, actually coming right here in Austin. The producers here are Harshit Gupta and Elliot Korla, partners who were inspired by the flavors of India, as well as the kindness and warmth of Harshit's mother, Madhu, whom they named the company after.
And Elliot is a former employee who we shared so many cheese bites with. We miss him, but we love that we get to see him now nice and regularly, because we buy this chocolate not just for our consumption, but to share with all sorts of folks, which
Absolutely.
is amazing.
This is a really delicious pairing for that blue cheese that we just enjoyed.
Absolutely.
You get these wonderful vanilla notes from the caveman that are definitely going to mingle really nicely with that flavor in the chocolate. So I definitely recommend trying a little of those goodies together.
Yeah, and the chocolate, they were inspired by kind of the classic breath mint kind of idea in India, where a lot of times you'd eat a little bit of candy dusted with fennel pollen or fennel as like a breath refresher. And so they kind of came up with the idea of this chocolate bar, using the idea, taking organic Madagascar vanilla, blending it with that fennel and the delicious chocolate, and it creates this really, really delicious little bite. Gosh, I'm gonna eat a lot more of this the whole thing. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us for this Pride Month cheese board. It's such a joy for us to do this. We love sharing cheese with passionate people from passionate people. So we really appreciate it. Enjoy your cheese.
Yes.
And
have a fantastic Pride Month.
Yes.
And we'll see you next month. We're going to have fantastic goodies for you.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.